What is up, awesome people, and welcome back to another Wi-Fi Wednesday shenanigans! Alrighty, so for tonight I'm going to go back to some free battles since I'm building up quite a bit of free battles. At the moment I have enough for rating battles, so that's going to be for next week most likely. But on the topic of that, I'd like to say a huge thank you to those who rocked up to the live stream on the weekend in regards to the live battle spot and the live battle tree as well that I did. Yeah, I actually did a duo of live streams, which is like a once in a lifetime. But that will continue once again in like not this weekend, but the weekend after for the international challenge that's coming up for the Megastone. So I'll be live streaming them as long as I don't die of exhaustion. So anyways, on to the topic, which is the shenanigans that's going to be happening on Battle Spot. We have a very first team here. This one was actually a bit of a what should I do here, because this is potentially a Trick Room team. But I won't spoil it for now, so let's just jump into the shenanigans and see what went down. So this is the same team that I showcased last week. I have just gotten around to breeding all of the Pokemon for my next team. I'm just in the process of transferring them over from Oris over to Sun and Moon and then EV training them, and then it'll be good to go for the next team, which we probably showcase live in one of the live streams most likely. So anyways, we had on my side the Slowbro and the Hariyama lead, which is the core of this team, plus the Drampa lead and the Oranguru lead from the opponent's side. So of course we're going to go for the Mega Evolution on the Slowbro, so obviously this is a Mega Slowbro set. Trick Room of course with the Scald and the Ice Beam and Slack Off, which will probably get eventually replaced with Flamethrower just for more coverage. So this Drampa has Energy Ball, and I was like, wow, I didn't know Drampa learned Energy Ball, and that does 3/4 damage there to my Slowbro, so I'm like, that's pretty nasty. So I go for the Ice Beam there, knock it down towards the orange there, and activate Drampa's Berserk, which is going to raise his special attack by +1. Plus, this Drampa can activate that ability multiple times as well, so if it was running like Citrus Berry, or in this case, Leftovers, when it goes back into the green, and if I was like, knock it back down again, Berserk can activate again. So Guts activates there on the Hariyama. I did fake out the Oranguru that turn, just in case it didn't go for something like Trick Room, which is what I'm predicting it to go for, since it will actually benefit my team more than what it will benefit the opponent's team. That's what's going through my head anyways. So I go for the close combat on the Drampa, because I don't want a +1 Drampa sticking around on that field. So that was an absolute demolish there on the Drampa. I think it could have been an Oko as well if it was down that low health. So there's the Trick Room. The Oranguru sets up the Trick Room, which is what most Orangurus set up in doubles. Most of the time, as I said, it's like Mental Herb or Citrus Berry Oranguru, and most of the time it's either Psychic or Trick Room they'll tend to use, or other like statusy moves. Anyways, I send out the God Horse, is what my stream chat is referring to now, which is the Godstale or Mudstale. This thing is an absolute bloody beast! Anyways, quick claw activates there on the Vikavolt, so I'm like, that's kind of annoying, but at the same time they went for my Mudstale, which is a good thing. If they went for Hariyama, that could have been probably bad on my part. So they activate the stamina ability there on my Mudstale, raising its defense by +1. I go for the Rock Slide on this, and that's going to deal just a little bit under half damage there to Vikavolt, and just 1/4 damage there to Oranguru. Hariyama goes for the Rock Slide as well, so double Rock Slide there, bringing the Vikavolt down to probably about 5 HP there, and Oranguru down to just a little bit above half there, or below half. So Burn Orb there kicks in again, seeing Hariyama's health down a little bit lower. Go for the Rock Slide once again, so that's the Vikavolt down, and the Oranguru will survive that with about 3/4 damage there, or living on 1/4 health. So down goes the Vikavolt, and I did actually go for the close combat there, predicting I'd hit the Rock Slide. Luckily the Rock Slide hit, because that would have been quite dangerous if my Rock Slide didn't hit the Vikavolt. That could potentially have led to Hariyama going down and then Oranguru surviving maybe. Anyways, Burn Orb again, Flame Orb again, sending my Hariyama down to 61 HP, leaving their only Pokemon in reserve is the Beware. Now, Beware is absolutely dangerous in Trick Room. It does carry Hammer Arm as well, which can potentially make it even slower if it's not like already slow enough. Wow, that was bad dyslexia there. Anyways, high horsepower does 1/4 damage there to Beware, and the close combat from the Guts Hariyama is enough to take out the Beware, even with the Fluffy ability, which is absolutely absurd, which is just to demonstrate how powerful a 104 EV Hariyama is with Guts. Yeah, as I said, that's not 252 EVs in Hariyama. For those of you who are curious about what my EV spreads are, or what my moves are, or what potential moves you can run on this particular team, I've actually added a new sequence into Wi-Fi Wednesday right at the end of the video, just before the outro, that actually shows what the moves and EV spreads are on my Pokemon that I use for each team, which is a new inclusion for those who didn't see it in last week's video. Anyways, that's the first battle from Wi-Fi Wednesday. Let's move on to the second one. As you probably saw there quickly on the team preview, there was a Tapu Koko and a Alolan Raichu lead, which is of course the Surge Surfer and the whatever the surge thingamajiggy is for Tapu Koko. I can't remember its bloody ability. But anyways, it sets up the electric train regardless. We'll probably see it on screen in a second. Anyways, there's the Alolan Raichu and the Tapu Koko. So we got Electric Surge, there we go, I was close enough, and Surge Surfer going there on the Raichu. So this is how you counter this particular lead. This lead can be quite scary. We've got like Alolan Raichu with Psychic and all that, and Tapu Koko's amazing special attack as well, and potential physical threat as well. So it's a Dazzling Gleam that's going to be super effective on both my Pokemon there. I didn't fake out the Raichu predicting like a Psychic or something coming from Raichu, which would have demolished my Hariyama. So Trick Room is now onto the field. Guts kicks in for the Hariyama, so Hariyama's back to like God mode here. So I go for the Dracula Meteor on my Executor here, which is going to hit the Alolan Raichu, and this is going to hit it relatively hard, even with just 8 special attack EVs invested only into my Executor. So it's more like a bulky set, just relying on its base special attack to take out opponents. So that was enough to take out the Alolan Raichu, and here comes the Poison Jab from the Hariyama. Numbered is boosted from Guts, and that's enough to take out the Tapu Koko. So that lead was absolutely demolished quite easily there. So that's how you counter the Alolan Raichu and the Tapu Koko leads. Pretty easy peas, actually. Anyways, there's the Golisopod as in reserve, and another Oranguru. So at this point in time when I was doing these battles, I saw Oranguru an awful lot. Only recently, though, I haven't seen an Oranguru since. So, I don't know. Maybe the usage just dropped a little bit on Oranguru. Anyways, I'm going to send out the monster out here predicting like first impression from the Golisopod. Even if the Oranguru was to attack, I would say it would have went for my Hariyama. So I'm also going to swap out there into my Vikavolt, which was in the back as well. So first impression was predicted there. Going to get the stamina boost from the Mudstails to make it bulky and physically defensive. So I can probably take the next liquidation from the Golisopod. And as predicted, Psychic from the Oranguru onto the Vikavolt side, which is going to tank that relatively well as well, thanks to base special defense on Vikavolt. So I'm going to go for the Rock Slide there just to deal damage there to the Golisopod mainly, and hoping for like a flinch, but I don't think it would have mattered on Oranguru because it's going to die to a Bug Buzz from the Vikavolt. Expert Belt would have kicked in there as well to take that out. So there's liquidation from the Golisopod. I'm like, this is going to come really close. I think I'm going to badly live this at the very least, but yeah, I badly live with 7 HP, send my kicks up again. And unless this thing's carrying Aqua Jet, I'm going to lose Mudstail, but it doesn't, so I'm going to outspeed there, go for the Rock Slide, and that is going to take Golisopod down to the red, but it isn't going to matter because I do have Thunderbolt on the Vikavolt, and this is going to be overkill on the Golisopod, leading to the game. So that's Golisopod down, and that's also the game. So that was a relatively interesting battle. As I said, I thought I'd show that one just purely on the Alolan Raichu and the Tapu Koko lead. Trick Room badly counters that one, so that's really good. But any other normal situation, I'd say I would have struggled a little bit to take that out. Mudstail would have definitely countered both Pokemon, I'd say, even without the Trick Room. I can only imagine the only move Raichu would be able to hit with Mudstail is Grass Knot, but even then I have actually demonstrated on a live stream that Mudstail can take a Grass Knot from Alolan Raichu with 252 EVs and special attack. I think it was like timid, or maybe, I can't remember if they said it was modest, but it tanks it like really well. And as for Tapu Koko, I think the only best it would have done was like Moonblast, Thunderbolt, which hits really hard in the electric terrain. Anyways, let's move on to the last battle, and this one is kind of a trying to switch things up a little bit. I think here I was trying to experiment with different leads instead of like the usual predictable Hariyama or Slowbro or Executor lead, which as I said is kind of like the whole reason behind the name of this team, which is the Harry Bro Tree. I think I named it in the end or something like that. I can't remember, but it was something ridiculous along those lines. Anyways, I'm going to try Mudstail in my lead, but they're going to lead with Sidua here. I'm like, okay, I don't particularly want to swap anything into it because most of my team is bloody weak to this thing. Anyway, Steel Wing there from the Salamence, which is really interesting there. Great for countering ice types, I guess, like Alolan Ninetales, for example. But not so much from a Mudstail. So Leaf Blade crits there on my Mudstail. I am not too sure if that mattered or not. I'm going to say it didn't. So Trick Room's going to go up there, so that's great. At least I got my Trick Room up, and at the same time, I guess Mudstail was a great diversion from that as well. So anyways, Hariyama's going to come on the field. I know I can't take out the Sidua in one turn, so I'm going to fake out the Salamence there, just prevent it from going like Dragon Claw or something, or Dragon Rush on my Alolan Executor, because I do need that as sticking around to take out this Decidueye. So Flamethrower with just 8 special attack investment does around 3/4 damage there, which is excellent. Can't pronounce my words tonight. Brave Bird there from the Decidueye is going to do just over half damage there and fails to take out the Decidueye, but yeah, I said Leaf Blade didn't matter on that Mudstail, but that is impressive. So Hariyama tanks that, gets the guts up. So I go Dracula Meteor onto the Salamence, and I know in the back of my mind this is definitely an Oko. unless they're running some strange investment into their Salamence, but that's definitely an Oko there. So Salamence goes down, which is excellent. And from the range that Decidueye is in, I can just Poison Jab that down, and then that's a double KO there for the opponent's side. Which is awesome, because both those Pokemon were relatively big threats, and Decidueye was a huge threat to my entire team, because my last Pokemon, I think, was Primarina. And there's going to be one other Pokemon, as you probably saw in the team preview, that's going to be a huge counter to Primarinas, and that's going to be Pikachu. Oh, I hate this thing. But in competitively, like, Pikachu is an absolute beast with Light Ball, so I'm assuming it's going to be Light Ball or something like that. So Excel Rock onto the Executor, which was confusing in a way, because if they Excelled Rock my Hariyama, they would have dented that a bit more. Then again, I resisted, I guess. Not too sure. I would have thought they would have gone for my Hariyama. Anyways, close combat there. Oko's the Lack of Rock with absolute ease. And there's the Thunder from the Pikachu, and believe it or not, it actually hits. I'm like, damn, that's not good. So Hariyama goes down. So this is where I'm like, I really needed Mudstyle here, because I could have easily Oko'd the Pikachu here. So my last Pokemon in reserve is Primarina, as I said. So I'm going to have to use Protect here just to try and stall this Pikachu out, so I can either hit Sleep Powder on Executor, which I don't for the second time. I'm like, for Pete's sakes, every other time I've hit Sleep Powder, and this is the only time I can't hit it. And at the same time, my Trick Room wears out, so I'm like, oh boy, I'm at the mercy of Pikachu. So I'm really fingers crossing here that I can live a Thunder with Primarina, because I do have special defensive EVs in it, and Primarina has really nice base special defense. I do tank it. I tank it, like, relatively well, I guess, but I get paralyzed, which is really annoying. And as we all know, I have a really bad history of paralysis, so that was bound to happen. So I'm like, screw it. Sleep Powder's not working, so I go for Draco Meteor, and I was at -2 there. That did 3/4 damage at -2, just to show how much beastly damage Executor does. So I go for Protect there, just to make sure that I don't lose Primarina in case Draco Meteor doesn't land, and it hits. And this is a -4. Will this be enough to kill the Pikachu? And indeed it is. So Pikachu bites the dust, thankfully, because if that had him Power Ice, I probably would have lost Executor, and Primarina was my last Pokemon, which would have been absolutely dreadful. But anyways, guys, that is it for Wi-Fi Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, I'll hopefully bring some rating battles. Otherwise, we'll be back to free battles again. But as I said at the beginning of the video, there is going to be a huge shift. Hopefully, in 2 weeks' time, maybe I'll have all the International Challenge battles I'll be doing, which is for the Beedrillite and the Wildlight. Unfortunately, I kind of don't like the idea of locking them behind competitions. But anyways, guys, until the next time, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!